ready to kick off the holiday season, one of our favorite holiday traditions here at 4 News Now. In early December, Mark Peterson and the 4 News Now Extreme team once again lit up the trees in Cowley Park right below Sacred Heart Children's Hospital.
We started this tradition years ago to bring the holidays to the kids, families, and staff who have to spend their Christmas getting and giving treatment. It's one of a half-dozen Extreme Team projects every year that we do to give back to the community we love so much. Welcome back. You can find community anywhere you feel safe and supported and loved.
And sometimes it's a world away from where you started. Alyssa Charleston has the story of a WSU football player's unlikely journey to the Palouse.
If I just look back like 4 or 5 years ago, just like how I was going to school, living life just to live another day, just thinking about that and how I got here is like, yeah.
Pretty crazy.
Pretty crazy.
What's even crazier is the world Cosmas Coete was living in 15 years ago. Born in the Democratic Republic of the Congo while it was serving as the battlefield of the deadliest human conflict since World War II.
War broke loose, and my dad and my mom, they saw that the best opportunity for us to like live another day is to like leave and go live in a refugee camp.
Leaving behind the threat of armed fighters or thieves breaking into their home late at night. The family of 9 busts south to Zimbabwe, trading their life of danger for one of the unknown.
The electricity, you get a schedule, the electricity schedule, it comes this time, it goes this time. Clean water, there's specific places you can get clean water. And if you want just like regular bath water or anything, you go somewhere else. School is not the best schooling. It's not in the best conditions, but if you want to go to school, you got to use what you have.
What he also had was rugby and 2 brothers that all fell in love with it. The sport took them away from their rough and often dangerous world.
But like me, I was having the chance of like escaping that to live in a refugee camp, even though that wasn't the best of life. But I still thank God for that opportunity.
Imagine feeling grateful after spending your entire childhood in a refugee camp. But after 13 years in Zimbabwe, their most life-changing opportunity came knocking.
My dad told us that we'll get a chance to relocate, to resettle in America. There'll be a really good chance for us to start over. And then from that, like when I had that news, I almost broke down. Like I was so happy, like what I watch on TV and how the American life is, you know, it's something you want to be part of.
He would become part of something very American right away when a coach at his new high school first caught sight of Cosmas and his brothers.
He saw us and then he was like, boys, what do you guys want to do here? And then we're like, well, here to play soccer and rugby. And that's like, you play rugby? He said, oh, you won't like football.
With his size, speed, and rugby mentality, Cosmas was a natural on defense. Football scholarship offers from all over the country started rolling in, but he wasn't making a decision on his new home without his family.
I love my mom. I'm really close with my mom. I'm not a mama's boy, but I love my mom. And when I came up for my visit, my mom loved the school. She loved the coaches, the environment. She thought it was the best situation for me.
Just a few years removed from their old situation, where safety was never promised. This quaint college town tucked away in the hills of the Palouse seemed like the perfect opposite.
Like coming in Pullman, you know, Pullman is one of the world secure places. It's like, you can walk in Pullman any time of the day you want, any time of the night you want. It's most likely nothing will happen to you.
First time you're away from your brothers and your family.
Yeah.
Has it been hard?
It's been hard, but sometimes we talk and it's like, and he tells me like, we'll meet again someday, but you gotta make sure you take care of business first.
Business means getting a degree in civil engineering, determined to bring hope to a place that had none for the Coete family.
One of my goals is to go back in Africa, going back to like our Congo, you know, just you know how the infrastructure is really poor and everything. So just kind of like starting your own like foundation and like building stuff over there and like take off my people, if I could say that. Yeah.
Alyssa Charleston, 4 News Now.
For many of us in the inland Northwest, nature sparks creativity.
This year, we saw that firsthand from a man who grew up here and found a way to combine two loves, art and fly fishing. Ariana Lake shows us his unique approach to the canvas.
At 8 years old, my grandpa got me my first fly rod. Pretty amazing childhood as far as loving fly fishing and being outdoors.
A love like that never leaves a man. The river forever beckons to Ben Miller.
Well, it's like the idea of just loving a river and then being out there in the moment.
His hands have always been busy. In them, instruments of an artist, with a touch that will paint the water.
And I'm sitting here wrapping Mom's sewing thread on there and trying to find some materials like pocket lint. I'd present them to my grandpa, and he would take them, and he would say it's the most perfect fly. And
from there, his passion for fly fishing grew, as vast and mighty as the Spokane River.
it's quite the adventure, actually.
Once Miller graduated Wazoo, he took a job teaching art in his home state of Washington. But it just wasn't right. So he returned to the river. From the waters flowed his art.
This is scary as heck to one day wake up and say, oh, I'm going to start making these paintings, and then go out into the world and see what the world holds for you.
Scary, because in his hand isn't a brush.
It's a style and a way of painting that a lot of folks could understand when they see it. With the movement, with the action, with the colors, everything.
Bits of yarn
And then these are kind of the workhorse.
replace the hook. With each cast, paint-soaked yarn strikes his canvas.
Burn umber, Payne's great for the shadow.
Amid the flow of any river, he finds the expansive empire beneath the surface.
It's just a smear of color going by.
An abstract moment in time, captured in acrylic. Miller knows not everyone loves his style.
Like, one guy walked away, he's like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And I was like, yes, it was great. And I loved that reaction because he didn't maybe agree with it, but he still had to acknowledge it.
At the end of the day, when he sees his masterpiece,
I am ecstatic about it.
just like that, he's a kid again, returning to the river.
Sometimes, I'll stand on these rivers and there's nowhere else I'd rather want to be.
I'm Ariana Lake, 4 News Now.
There's nothing quite like the holidays to bring out the young at heart in all of us.
And we don't just mean Christmas. Taylor Graham found a cross-generational celebration of Halloween.
Oh, I hear them. Mercy on us, we got a ton of them out there.
Time is a funny thing. One day you're trick-or-treating. The next, you're passing out candy.
Oh, she likes suckers.
And before you know it, 96 Halloweens have passed.
Oh, I like your costume.
And the holiday may feel like a thing of the past.
Come on, have another one, sweetie. Oh,
Unless you're 96-year-old Jean Norton and her friends at Brighton Court Assisted Living.
Makes us feel young. Makes us feel happy.
Every year on October 31st, they turn back the clock for 1 hour.
Just kind of puts a spark in them that they don't get very often.
And suddenly, time melts away. They're young again.
Oh, boy.
As they pass out candy to trick-or-treaters who come right to them at Brighton Court.
Oh, my.
This year, it's kids from the Northeast Youth Center.
Oh, well, it's hard to describe it because it's so perfect. It just makes our life and makes our day, it's a thrill. Yeah, it really is. It just takes you back. It just takes you back to the days when you did that same thing that mothers are doing now.
Jean has been there before. She's a great-grandmother. Her kids, their kids, and their kids are all grown now.
Oh, I love hugs. Yes, I do.
So days like today are timeless.
Now I don't think too far ahead, but only hope that maybe I can be here next year to take part in all of this again.
Reporting in Spokane Valley, Taylor Graham, 4 News Now.
Middle schoolers have a lot on their plates. There's the juggling of classes, sports, and of course, homework.
Some Sacagawea middle students got an explosive hands-on lesson with the Spokane Bomb Squad. Caroline Flynn explains this one-of-a-kind lesson.
When they show up late for class, they're fired.
Miss Taylor runs her 8th grade engineering class like a business.
So they have a product always that comes out of all their ideas and all their thinking and all their creations.
Most of their projects this year focused on bettering other classrooms. That's why the newest one really threw students for a loop.
So I'm also a member of the Spokane Bomb Squad.
Like, we're gonna do what now?
Officer Breyer's bomb squad is the 2nd busiest in the country, and they need help.
Talking to your teacher at the STEM fair where we met, yeah, there's a couple limitations to the robot that we have.
They got to brainstorming, and Miss Taylor thought her students could be the fresh set of eyes needed to fix the issues.
When you go through so much school and you're in college and you learn this and this, I think it almost sometimes puts the blinders on adults.
Here's the problem. This claw. It's used to pick up bombs, open doors, and manipulate objects. And it isn't working quite right.
You don't get much friction there to be able to actually grip and open and turn. And I mean, it's easy with a hand, but trying to do it with a robot.
For these cash-strapped preteens, a new claw was out of the question. So they decided to make a glove to go over the existing claw. 8th grader Buzz Hamilton's job is figuring out what could be added to the glove to give it a better grasp.
This is 6.51,
Okay.
small one.
One of the things that humans have to help grip the door handles is our fingerprints and the ridges that come up. So I tried to replicate that on here.
As if coming up with a solution as a class project was pressure enough, Officer Breyer upped the stakes.
If it is functional, we're going to let every other bomb squad in the country know.
The statement actually motivated them more. When we last checked back in, they were ahead of schedule to finish the prototype.
If we do good and if we get this done and perfect, then we could impact the entire country.
If we're already doing this type of stuff in 8th grade, I just want to know what we'll be able to do in high school and later when we grow up.
Caroline Flynn, KXOI4 News.
4 News Now is proud to offer you a unique perspective on the news with the help of Air 4. That's our 4 News Now drone. Coming up, one of our favorite Air 4 adventures of 2019 that may have you dreaming of summer.
And we're sliding into the new year with Lenny. You have to see this Spokane dog who became an Instagram sensation. We'll be right back with more stories from the heart.